Okay, hi everybody, it's welcome to the show that just never ends, and here we are, it's Friday morning. It's the morning of the start of the 2020 European Cup. That's what it's called, European Cup, European Championships, European Championship. Yeah. Do you know, with the other three European Cups, nobody's going to have a clue which league they're in, are they? It's going to be very confusing.
Oh, Pete, not even the teams are going to know, are they, Dad? No one's going to have a clue.
Nobody's got a clue what's going on. Nobody's got a clue.
But that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. We'll start with one tiny little funny story that I heard during the week. I love this. Germany are crap. No, that wasn't the funny story. The funny story is an Austrian who was playing for who played for West Germany many, many years ago. He was playing in Brazil, and when they called his name onto the pitch, all the Brazilian fans burst into laughter and took the mickey. And he never did find out why during the game. But the next day when he read the papers, he discovered that his surname in Brazil meant free sexual intercourse. And with that, yeah, you can see why they thought that was funny.
Good advertising.
Yeah. Right, straight in there. Good morning, Kieran. How are you?
How am I?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Up?
Just about up. It has been a struggle, despite the fact that it is 10 a.m. I haven't had to get up this early in quite a long time, so...
Well, we'll start with Group E, shall we? Because that's where we sort of finished off at the end of Group D. Group E, what do we have in Group E? Spain, Sweden, Poland and Slovakia. Right, what do we know about Spain? Spain could write a book on Spain's manager. There's been an awful lot going on with him, and arguments and different things on being sacked and coming back, and lots of different things. You could actually just make it a book. Well, somebody probably will. He, of course, has left out Sergio Ramos, which is the big news in the world. He's only 4 caps away from the all-time and biggest capped player in the world, and he's been dropped. So maybe he's hoping that Spain will do crap so they get a different manager very quickly and get his 4 caps.
Well, he plays for Real Madrid, doesn't he? And the Spain coach is ex-Barcelona.
Yeah.
If that has anything to do with it.
Yeah, there you go. They play a 4-3-3. Nothing wrong with the depth of this squad, but nobody has a clue what they're doing in that team. They're a complete mess. I think it'd be a fair comment. It's very similar to Germany as we come to. If you read the names, if you look at their players, they look good. There's nothing wrong with that team on paper, except for the team. There is no team. They're all just individual players. But is that going to be enough to save them?
It'll be enough to get them either to the quarterfinals or at best a semi-final. But it's weird, isn't it? Because you look at their squad and think it's a decent squad, but it's absolutely nothing like what it was when they went on that streak between 2008 and 2012. Because you had all your Xavis, your Iniestas, your Torreses, David Villa. Like, there's some great names in there, but it's just whether all that goes together to compete against, your Belgiums and your Germanys, really. And their one thing is that Morata is their one and only striker, really.
And he's missing them, isn't he?
He's not doing too well.
He's doing a Werner.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what about Torres, City's player?
Yeah, I don't know whether they use him as a striker for Spain, but he has been striker for Man City. And
he'll be up the front with the other guy, won't he? Those two plus somebody else. Traore, maybe?
Potentially.
I mean, he's not a striker as such, but up front,
No. But this is what I mean. Like, it's a decent squad, but is Traore going to really be competing enough against a Germany or a Belgium or someone like that? I'm just not sure they will. Yeah.
Sweden play a 4-4-2. There's a little niggle in me that just wants Sweden knocked out. I think that sounds really cruel, doesn't it? I just think they're the sort of team that bother England.
We beat them in the last World Cup.
Yeah.
I got them in the sweepstake yesterday, so I kind of want them to do well.
Oh, right. Okay, then. Okay, well, you didn't do too bad. Who was the poor sod that ended up with North Macedonia, then?
I
Friend
think
of
that
yours?
was Elliot Britton, yeah.
Yeah, does he know anything about football?
Oh, he plays for a university in America.
Right, so he's very disappointed then.
Yeah, he's not very happy. No.
Lindelof will play, but we don't know with who at the back. Probably play Alexander Isaac up front. Out wide to be Forsberg. In midfield, 3 players from the club Krasnodar. Is that right? Krasnodar?
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
It's a solid enough defence, but they're pretty middle of the road.
Yeah.
4-4-2, just go through the system, be enough to trip people up, but not enough to win anything.
They'll be ranked probably, I don't know, 30th to 40th in the world. So it means they're a decent team. They just haven't got enough firepower to really trouble the big guns. No. Decent players, though. Forsberg from Leipzig is very good as well.
Leipzig seem to be on the up, don't they, that team?
They've only been around for 12 years, and yet here they are with all the players in
we discussed their few fiddles on the money front in Germany that everybody talked about, that 50-50. Now they're actually owned by a company called Red Bull. But that's one to go back on if people are interested.
I mean, their problem is that they've sold their 2 centre-backs already this summer. And it's barely even summer.
Right. Next team, Poland. Paulo Sousa, manager. Previous manager was Jerzy Brzezek. He was fired because he didn't get on with the striker. Lewandowski. Yeah. Which is great, isn't it, when your player counts more than the manager?
I think, unfortunately, in this situation, it actually kind of does.
Yeah, so Sousa likes to play a 4-man defence when he doesn't have possession, and then he moves into a 3-4-1-2 when he's got the ball. Rebus has the task of moving out of the 4 further up the pitch when they've got the ball, and their striker is the best striker in this group, clearly.
Arguably in the world.
Which
is a one and only chance.
With Milik next to him. Well, you have to say, if he's on the pitch, anything can happen.
You can say that. I think the one thing you have to look at is Poland's past experiences in Euros and the World Cup, and nothing's ever really materialised. I think most of the time you see with these countries who have one player, Salah for Egypt, Haaland for Norway. Norway aren't even here. So having a great striker never normally works out, if that is your one and only thing. So I doubt they'll do anything big.
Slovakia. Number 9, Michael Juris has a dreadful record. This is their number 9. I mean, we've mentioned this a number of times, how crap the number 9s are in this tournament. This guy has scored 7 goals in 54 games, and he's their main striker. That would suggest he's not going to be a problem. He's not much better in the league he plays for, which is in Cyprus. It would come as a surprise if they ditch him, though. This group might prove a little bit tricky for Spain, I wonder. because I think Poland are unpredictable, and Sweden and Slovakia, I think, will be difficult to break down. I mean, is there anybody in the Slovakia's team that we recognise?
You have Dubravka, who's goalkeeper for Newcastle. And then that is it, I think.
Yeah.
Skriniar from Inter Milan is a decent defender. But that is about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're one of these teams making up the numbers, aren't they?
More or less. I also got them in my sweepstakes, so
Oh dear.
they were the two teams I got, Sweden and Slovakia.
Right. So how much money are you losing?
5.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I now, have we got much to say about this other than who do you think out of that lot are going to go through in what order?
I think you just have to go Spain first.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to go Sweden over Poland just because they've done decently in tournaments.
Okay.
They've always gone through. They've always gone out in like the last 16 or the quarters. They've always gone through. So I think I'm going to say Sweden, then Poland, then Slovakia. I reckon Poland might be one of those who sneak in those third place spots.
Okay. Germany, France, Portugal, Hungary. We've heard those comments. The Group F, Group of Death. Yeah. Of course, that isn't the case because
they can get through.
So it's pointless. In fact, you have to say, and as much as everybody talks about this Group of Death and blah blah blah, the fact is, I think it's the complete opposite. Because you're going to meet in a group stage, you can afford to lose to one of the top teams, get through, and not have to meet them again until the final.
Mm.
You can afford to play the top and lose and get through.
It used to be a thing, didn't it, the Group of Death, but it may not necessarily be that now.
No. I mean, the danger with this group is the team that gets through here could be the team that England face. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, we are in trouble.
I mean, that's it, because all these teams, and that is France, Germany, Portugal, and Hungary, they can all afford to lose games in there. In fact, Portugal, when they won the Cup a few years ago, they never won a game in their group stage. Did you know that? They were all draws, and they got through and won the Cup, and yet didn't win a game.
I don't think they barely won any in the knockout stages either. They all won on penalties.
Yeah.
And I think they might have won one, and then obviously the final was after extra time. I think they won one game throughout the whole tournament. I think that was the point. It was ridiculous.
So why do they call it the Group F Death? And that is because 3 of these teams have won the last 3 competitions. And that is Germany, France, and Portugal. That's right, Hungary didn't.
I was going to say, I think people could guess it probably wasn't Hungary.
So let's start then with the bottom team in that group, Germany.
Nice.
Yeah, you like that?
I thought you...
Yeah, what a mess.
Mm.
Germany are a mess. The manager is leaving after this tournament. That was announced. And he made a really strange... He actually shook the whole team up and wanted to start fresh. So he got rid of all his old players, brought in all his young players, and then they got thrashed 6-0 by Spain. They lost to North Macedonia 2-1. They had a nightmare. And so he's quickly whipped all the old ones back in for this tournament. They haven't played together. They haven't. None of them know. In Germany is a big chat about who is going to actually come out onto the football pitch. Nobody's got a clue what format they're playing, who's playing. Nobody knows. It's anybody's guess. It's a complete mess. Of course, what we all know is Germany can still do it.
Yeah.
Which is bit disappointing. But who are Germany, Kieran?
Well, they did beat someone 7-1 the other day, so that's to be taken into account as well. I think because their team pretty much writes itself because they do have a lot of decent players. Maybe apart from the defenders, where they are slightly lacking, because you have Emre Can, Hummels from Dortmund, Rudiger from Chelsea, and Suda from Bayern. There's no star left back. That's the one thing they don't have, or star right back. Really, I was saying
no. That's what they're missing, isn't it?
a couple of fullbacks, yeah. But then their wingers do kind of make up for it. You got Gnabry and Sane, who are just lethal, aren't they?
Yeah.
Kroos and Kimmich in the midfield is as solid as you're ever going to get. And then you got Gundogan, who's been doing really well this season. Up front, Muller obviously has an unreal record for Germany. He's one of them who they brought back in. Can't understand why you'd ever get rid of Muller, considering his record for Germany. Seems absurd. But then Havertz has been getting into form for Chelsea. He's been doing well. Werner, we know, hasn't really. Whether he'd start, I think he does start for Germany, actually.
Well, you see, this is what this group is going to be difficult in the sense that I think you're going to have to take your chances. So Werner isn't the man, is he?
No, it has to be. Then Muller's not really an out striker. He's more of a attacking midfielder. So I don't know what they're going to do in that respect.
No.
Because they are the three, Havertz, Muller, and Werner, who they got as their forwards. They have Kevin Volland as well, but I mean, who's he?
Well, exactly. So if he's watching this show, we apologise for Kieran's lack of knowledge about
Kevin, you're not playing, fella. Sorry.
Okay, France. Well, here comes our favourites over Portugal, or
yeah.
Do you think France? Yeah. Well, what can you say? I mean, they're favourites. 8 players left from the last tournament. They play a 4-2-3-1. They're narrow in the midfield. Mbappe will play down the right, probably. The big surprise is the return of Benzema, really.
Benzema, yeah.
Yeah,
he's just got injured, doesn't he?
Missed out for this. I mean, he was on the bench, but I bet he's pissed off.
Hasn't Benzema just gone injured, though?
Has he?
I think he may have done. I'll check that. He definitely came off injured the other day. Whether it's that bad or not, I don't know.
Right. But I mean, they've got so many players. I mean, what's the point? Yeah. I mean, isn't this tournament theirs to lose?
Well, the last Euros was, and they did cock it up in the final. But then they went on to win the World Cup, didn't they? They have no reason to not win. It's an absurd team they have. Benzema isn't, apparently it's just a knock, so he should be okay. But I mean, you look at their forwards and you're like, blimey, like, why have we got Marcus Rashford in our team when we could have these lot?
Do you know, the strange thing is France are 9-2 favourites. England are second favourites at 6-1.
Muppets.
I mean, we're above Belgium. Portugal are behind Germany and Spain and coming at 9-1.
I mean, obviously they shouldn't have won the last one, but I think Portugal got a very decent chance. I mean, we'll come on to them. Well, but yeah, France are definitely the favourites. No doubt about that. All their team is world class, near enough.
Yeah, they look good. I mean, you could just read the team list and it'll be everybody knows as star players. Yeah. Whether they got confidence as well. I was listening to a radio show the other day and they went to people in the sort of Belgium camp, Germany, Spain, Portugal, and everybody was, we don't stand a chance. We're very disappointed this year. There's trouble, blah, blah, blah. The only one they came to was, well, we're going to win it, aren't we? was the French guy. I mean, their confidence. Everybody else are in there to lose.
No, I mean, yeah.
If they hold on to that confidence.
I mean, why wouldn't you hold on to that confidence when you have probably the most valuable and best player of the tournament in Mbappe? Like, you have no reason not to.
But there isn't a weak point in there, is there?
No, I mean, they have a back four as solid as anything with Varane, Pavard, Longley or Kimpembe could play there, Digne from Everton. And then you have the best CDM in the world in Kante. So you don't even really need a defence.
No, and you're playing next to Pogba,
who's very different for France.
Can get caught on the ball.
Yeah.
And can be slow. And I think Pogba, I mean, this is just stupid comment, but Pogba is the weak link in losing the ball in midfield. And that's pathetic saying that, even mentioning it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and then look at England, and we come in as second favourites. It's a joke.
How are we supposed to compete with this?
I don't know. People who think we're going to win, I don't know what they've been doing.
There needs to be a freak instant where France get knocked out by someone.
Yeah, we need somebody to do it for us, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Portugal. Now, is this another chance for Portugal?
Their squad is better than it was last time.
It is.
And they won it last time.
It is. Yes, I totally agree. Is there anything... I mean, so why are they where they are in the odds? I don't know. They're worth a bet, I reckon. 9-1. I reckon that's worth a bit of money myself. Don't you?
No, absolutely. Their squad looks really good, but almost as good as Germany's. Maybe even better than Germany's.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like to admit it.
Well, read a few out there then.
I mean, so at the back you've got Cancelo and Diaz from Man City. You've got Semedo from Wolves, Pepe, who's been there, done it 10 million times. Midfield, you've got Bruno Fernandes, Jean Moutinho, Ruben Neves from Wolves. William Carvalho is a really good CDM. Bernardo Silva from Man City. And then the forwards are unreal. Felix from Atletico, Ronaldo, Andre Silva, Diogo Jota. Like, I mean, there is talent all over the pitch.
What a choice! And what have we got to replace Kane?
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
I'm sorry, everybody.
We don't mean to sound pessimistic.
No, I'm not pessimistic. I'm not pessimistic because rather than just having this awful feeling like we're not going to win, because we never do, I look at these other teams and I think, well, if we can get through one or two rounds, I'm satisfied with that, with what we've got. We do not have a strong enough team. You can't have one striker and then look at Portugal, who aren't even favourites, who come about sixth favourites, and you look at what they've got to play with, and at the back you look at us hoping that Muppet Man makes it fitness-wise, and he's your best option as the central midfield. Central defender. I mean, you're relying on somebody who's not very good to get fit. Who the hell has who's heard of Ben White before this competition started? And now we're all putting our money on Ben White, I'm sorry. No.
He's very decent, but he's not a central defender for us at the Euros, is he?
I can't believe there's a Spanish sort of, YouTube channel of two blokes who don't know much sitting there chatting about Ben White. No. England looks strong at the back. They got Ben White.
No. I can't imagine that. I think the only area that we may... there's probably two. we have Kane, obviously, but that does rely on people around him as well. But then we have our young cams in Mount, Grealish, and Foden. Those are two areas that we are above standards on, really.
Yeah, and that's one area of the pitch.
Unfortunately, only one area of the pitch. I would argue right back as well if Trent was there, but he's not.
Okay, get to Hungary. Then I've got a couple of questions for you. Hungary. Well, Hungary, an interesting team. I like Hungary. I think they might upset this pot. I think they might. I think they can do Germany myself. I'm going to say the Hungary-Germany game, I think, is one worth a watch. I do. They rely on a tall guy up front. There's height, free kicks, corners. I think the way that Germany, what they've got at the back and the choices they haven't made yet and all that, I think that they can upset Germany. They can sometimes end up being boxed in a bit at the back. And they've got, but Germany are slow on the ball. So I think Hungary could upset Germany, okay, by ending up getting through possibly. Well, they might get through in third. The only problem is, even if they come third in that group, they might not be one of the teams in third that get through because they might lose the rest. I think it's a possibility they walk away with a draw against Germany and lose the other two, and the same as Germany. So both of those teams finish with 1 point, in which case neither of them will get through.
No.
But I think Hungary could end up kicking out Germany. That's
interesting. I mean, as for players that we know from Hungary,
not a lot.
I mean, realistically, there are probably none for most people, apart from potentially Gulaski from Leipzig, who's the goalkeeper. He has been at Liverpool and is a decent goalkeeper, as to be said. Maybe another name, Adam Nagy from Bristol City.
Right.
Just because he's the only one from an English team that I can see. But I think the one thing as well that might work in their favour is that there's a lot of players from the same teams. Fehava, I'm going to call them. There's a lot of players from there, especially in defence. So that could very much help them.
Okay, put them in order, Kieran.
France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary.
Okay.
Not going to say if Germany get through or not because I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's play England win everything. Okay.
Right.
Therefore, this will be who we play with your predictions. Okay. Group F runner-up is Portugal.
Yeah.
So in the next round, England play Portugal.
If we win our group. Right.
So we beat Portugal and we go in against the winner of Group 8. And that is going to be France.
Oh.
Because we're working on the theory that if France win their group, they're going to play the third finishers of one of the other groups.
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll win that. So if we go on where teams finish in first, second, third, fourth, and who you think are best, this is where we end up. We play Portugal, we play France, and then we play the winner of QF3, which will be the winner of Group 3 and 1, winner of Group 3 and 1 is Netherlands. Oh, Holland, maybe. So we could end up with Holland.
Be very decent for Holland if they got that far.
I know, but you see, they're probably gonna end up with playing Austria, Turkey, possibly, or Switzerland, Russia. That'll be who they end up playing if they end up where they were. And then who we meet in the final? Well, that would be possibly Spain.
So is there essentially one decent half of the draw and one not so good?
No, because not really. No, we could do with coming third, in all honesty, possibly, or second. We really coming first, we're knocking ourselves out because we end up with Portugal, France, possibly Holland and Spain.
So we need to lose Croatia essentially.
I mean, as much as you go down that list and you think, okay, but I mean, getting past Portugal and France.
Oh, that's tough enough. The two best teams in the tournament, arguably.
And if we win our group, if we're not playing Portugal, we'll be playing France.
Yeah.
And then we'll play the other ones the next game. So,
I mean, it's not supposed to be easy, is it? But
no, I know you've got to beat the top teams. It's a shame you can't meet them in the final.
I suppose we compare it to last time when we played Colombia and Sweden and then Croatia in the semi-final.
So, simply, if we win our group, we will play either Portugal or France, depending on who comes first and second.
Or Germany.
And then in the next round, we'll play the other one, France or Portugal. We're going to have to knock out the two best teams to get to the semi-finals. And let's be frank about this. If we get to the semi-finals, having knocked out Portugal and France, we bloody deserve to win it, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And then we'll lose to Holland.
So everybody jumping up and down about England's chances. How the hell are we second favourites? It don't take too much. Anybody can sit at home and work out this, who we're going to meet.
Maybe we're second favourites because it's between if we beat France, then we win the whole thing, essentially.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Unless we lose to Portugal.
Unless we lose to Portugal.
So, who is going to be who is going to be the biggest disappointment to you about this whole thing? A team, a player, anything. What can you see being really disappointing?
It's gonna be something I care about as well. This is the thing, because I was going to say Lewandowski for Poland, but I mean that's happened so many times that it just doesn't really matter anymore. And it's not like they're going to do anything anyway. I reckon Belgium might be quite poor for some reason. Some players in their squads and in their first 11 just don't really cut it for me. It's stupid of me saying that. They're at European Championships and they're good at football. But
well, for me, it's going to be Muppet manager not playing Grealish to start games until we're losing. And that is what I think might be the biggest disappointment, that he never starts Grealish. The
biggest disappointment is that he starts Rashford.
Yeah.
And Sterling.
He'll start Sterling. He likes Sterling.
I know. It should be
a favourite. Don't matter whether he's playing well or not. Don't make any difference. He'll start.
How can it not be between Grealish, Foden and Sancho? How can it be the other two? don't
I
get
don't
it.
know. Who do you most want to watch? What are you looking? Who are you looking forward to most? A team, a player? Is there anything in particular? Thinking I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, it would be Grealish if he actually plays. In terms of like another team that could be quite interesting to watch. I mean, you've said about Turkey being kind of dark horses. They could be quite interesting. Interesting what Spain do as well, because like obviously they've won all those tournaments in the past, and their team does look like they do have players that can create a lot, but it's just whether that happens or not. If it does click, then I can imagine they're going to be really exciting to watch.
There's two, and I know I'm cheating a bit in saying England players, but one is Bellingham,
Yeah,
and the other is Sancho, who we don't see much because, and of course, Sancho is maybe going to United. And it'll be interesting to see whether they've done one of their normals in that they've bought a name rather than actually seeing what he can do. I'll be interested. I don't know how good either of those are, and I'd be fascinated to actually find out.
But there was something I saw about.
We've got to stay in the tournament long enough. That's the trouble.
Yeah. This thing I saw about Bellingham this morning that I thought was just such an absurd stat was he will still be eligible for Young Player Awards in 2028. That's how young he is. Like, for crying out loud.
Bellingham.
Yeah.
17, isn't he?
It's absurd. Like, in 7 years' time, he'll still be a young player.
You see, I would say play him, and give him the bloody captain's armband, train him up. He could be something. He could be something. What I've seen of Bellingham, I've been impressed. I mean, I think playing Bellingham with Grealish looks really good fun to me. Can you imagine Bellingham, Grealish, Foden on that football pitch?
Yeah, it does look like a kick about in the park, doesn't it?
It does.
Just like tick attack kind of thing.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
that is exciting.
And I
what
think
a
that's
shame
what
we've
we
got
need.
a crap back lineup.
Yeah,
What a shame.
Decent fullbacks, centre backs is where we struggle.
I think it was Name It, and that is never work out. Is it the Netherlands or Holland?
Either.
Take a guess.
Technically Netherlands.
And the Ukraine, do you know what? They don't like the Ukraine. It's Ukraine. We don't say it's the England, the Germany, the Spain. We say it's Spain. And yet in Ukraine, they hate people saying the Ukraine because it makes it sound like it's owned by. And they've got a real thing about being owned by, haven't they, about Russia. And have you seen the thing about there? It is the Ukraine, isn't it? That have done their top. They've had to change.
So, I haven't seen this.
It was that they had the map, including a part of who Russia believe they still own, and there was some language up there that was a bit strong, that was taken as political, and it was originally allowed, and then Russia put in a complaint about their shirt. And so they've had to withdraw it, but luckily it hadn't been sold by then.
Well, Ukraine's Euro 2020 football kit provokes outrage in Russia.
There we go, yeah.
A Russian MP called it a political provocation.
Yeah. Well, it was approved originally. So there you go. Now, okay, two very quick questions and then we finish and we'll be back on Monday. One is, where is the bomb going off? Where do you see the real I mean, we've said about being a disappointment, but what is going to explode here that could be to do with football, could be with an outrage, could be anything? It can be to do with football, but where do you think the big splash headlines are coming from?
There'll be a COVID outbreak somewhere, won't there?
You're going for that. I did wonder about the booing of the knee.
Oh gosh,
Being
yeah. Oh, actually, that's
taking
worse.
all the
That's a lot
headlines.
worse. Yeah, that'll be it.
Or the other, I've wondered, was Harry Kane ankle problem after the first game. And I thought, so any others that you can think of? Bombs going off? What about Germany losing, being thrashed 6-0 by Hungary, for instance? That could be a fun one.
There's normally a team or like a squad that normally goes completely bust, doesn't it? Where everyone's just throwing the pram at each other. So that could happen to someone.
Yeah.
But those are the big three, aren't they?
Yeah.
COVID, knee, and ankle.
Yeah.
So,
COVID, knee, and ankle.
yeah.
And just to mention, I forgot to mention, but of course, Hungary do have an advantage of their first two games as they're playing at home, and they're the only home matches.
How have they managed to get home games?
Where they're full.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's going to be a full crowd, and I wonder whether that might be enough.
Well, I mean, isn't technically England's is going to be full crowd as well?
Yes, well. And now we'll finish on a much more serious note, and that is how many penalties will Mings give away if he plays?
Quite a lot. Let's say he plays every game and we get to the quarters. That's 5.
5 games. How many penalties does Mings give away?
Well, it's a pen a game, so I'm going to say 5.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to catch it on camera this time, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, don't know.
He can't play, can he? Please don't.
But neither can Maguire. He's got a broken leg.
Put him on the pitch. Yeah. Put him in a wheelchair. Yes.
I'll play.
Okay. And so here we come to the end then of our can't remember what it's called now. Preview number 3, wasn't it? Number 3. And so we come back after the fun game on Sunday. Aren't we all excited and thrilled and can't wait? Okay. So, Kieran, all the games coming up. I keep saying, and we'll give it a miss there, but of course we're not. We're going for, have you got where all the games are on what days?
I don't have a chart, no, but I do have the BBC Sport website.
Do you?
Yeah, so I'll use that probably.
What I want to know. Right, here we go then. Fixture dates, times. So what I want to know is I want winners and losers. I was going to do a quiz, but I decided against it. Okay, first game. Have you got them written down there somewhere?
1 second. I didn't realise you actually wanted me to get them up. Yes, I have them up now.
Right, Italy versus Turkey.
Draw. Do I have to give a result?
Yes, please.
1-0.
Next game, Sundays.
Wales.
That's Saturdays. Wales, is it?
Come on, Wales. 3-1 Wales against Switzerland.
3-1. Yeah, next one.
Denmark 2-0 versus Finland.
Oh, really?
Finland are rubbish, are they not?
Okay, next one.
Belgium, Russia, 3-1 Belgium.
Yeah. We're going up just until the end of Sunday.
So Sunday's games, England, Croatia, 2-1 England. Austria, North Macedonia. It's going to be a madness. It's going to be 3-3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Netherlands will beat Ukraine 3-2.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how many of them you get right. I'll post that underneath. I'll actually write those scores so we don't have. So we'll see. And Monday morning it will be then, Kieran.
Lovely.
So say goodbye. Thank
Bye.
you, and goodbye from me. So you say about a COVID outbreak.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's probably me.
yeah. Well, maybe Kieran won't be joining us on Monday. We'll see if he's still
Still
around.
do it over Zoom. I can't give you COVID via Zoom. That'll be fine.
Okay, right. Bye, everybody.